I'm a person who was stabbed in the neck and experienced clinical death 3 times 1 year ago today. Ask me anything. Proof, link in description. I was out at a local neighborhood bar that I really treated like a second home away from home. I knew all the staff there and was so close to the management that I found myself in the kitchen and office areas getting my own stuff at times. That particular night, there was a karaoke competition going on, and a absurdly drunk angry older man started screaming at the host and declaring she was racist and that the competition was rigged. Keep in mind, this is a you don't win a damn thing karaoke competition, not American Idol caliber. Having judged this competition several times in the past, and being a friend of the host, and generally disliking anyone that is going to scream racist insults and be belligerent to a woman 1/3 of their size, I told the guy to basically duck off and that the competition was not, in fact, rigged. The manager kicked him out, and that was that. I thought. I went out into the parking lot sometime later to have a cigarette. No smoking in bars in Colorado, and that's when I was ambushed from behind, having my neck slit from the right side of my neck all the way across to my Adam's apple. From here, it's a blur. I don't remember much. Some witnesses say he kept stabbing at my neck, which would make sense as there's additional cuts and scars on the other side of my Adam's apple and on my chin. I can remember thinking, oh what the duck, that hurt, then missing memory, then running holding my neck, looking down at my shirt and thinking, I thought I was wearing a white t-shirt. Then it occurred to me that my shirt was only red due to my blood, and even more strangely, I thought to myself, oh, shit, I guess I'm dying now, and faded into blackness as I began to fall to the ground. The final moments that I remember were incredibly strange. My perception of time was way off. I remember feeling like I ran across the entire parking lot, and remember having plenty of time to look down at my shirt and think to myself about my shirt and contemplate what had happened and realize that I was going to die. But witnesses say I took one step and dropped like a ton of bricks. Also, the realization that this was the end for me was very calming. I was pretty angry as I was just attacked and in a lot of pain because, well, getting stabbed / ducking hurts. But once I had that realization, it all faded away and I was completely calm. The serenity was unreal. While I was out, a bunch of people came to my rescue. A friend of mine, a fellow Redditor, chased the guy down and led police to him. Another friend of mine at the bar at the time stuck her fingers into my neck to stop the bleeding. A veterinarian who was working out at a 24-hour fitness nearby heard the commotion and came out and gave me first aid. Then the ambulance came and took me to the hospital. During the ride, my heart stopped for the first time. They were able to bring me back and get me there safely, but the doctors there were unable to fit a breathing tube down my neck, so they were forced to airlift me to another area hospital. On the chopper, my heart stopped again for the longest stretch, 2.5 minutes. They were able to bring me back and land me at the next hospital, where they were able to get me hooked up to a ventilator. But during the course of surgery, my heart stopped yet again and my lungs failed. Third restart was a charm, though, and it's continuing to beat today. After 2 weeks in a coma, my lungs started working on their own again, and I woke up. Total damage. Damaged both jugulars, my thyroid, carotid artery, and vocal cord nerve. Was the man who attacked you arrested? He was. A friend of mine chased him down, where he was still walking through the parking lot with knife in hand. The case is still ongoing, so I can't discuss the legal aspect of it much more. Are you a religious man? If yes, does it change your perception on an afterlife? I was an agnostic person before, and after this incident, I can say I'm an atheist. Watching people around you die, and you survive with the worst odds is a downer. Seeing everyone around you sick, and knowing for some reason, that kid over there with cancer, you get to live, and he gets to die. Why? Cosmic dice roll. I can't personally see any reason why everyone else that died did not make it and I did. Why am I any more significant than any of them? I believe that we have this time on Earth, and that's all. And that time can end at any instant. So by far the most important thing to do is to enjoy it and be good to one another. Make a positive impact on people's happiness, because that's all that we have to live for. Happiness, right here, right now. Did you ever discern a difference between being unconscious and being dead? This is something I struggle with to this day. After coming out of my coma, I would constantly question if any of this is real. It sounds absurd, but every time I turn left through an intersection or anything that I would consider risky, I subconsciously bite the side of my tongue to ensure I can feel it, to prove to myself I'm not dead. Did you quit smoking as a result of the hospital stay? I did quit smoking as I experienced complete lung failure. ARDS. My body was so weak and fragile after I woke up that even breathing was a monumental task. I really feared stairs up to my room for a good 3 months or so, haha. After all of that, definitely appreciate my lungs much more and wouldn't ever compromise them with cigarettes again. Are you still depressed, or did this whole experience give you a new outlook? I definitely have a much more positive outlook. I can't tell you what is on the other side of death's door. For me, it was nothing. That put the realization that what we have is this, right here, right now, and that this is very limited. I refuse to waste my days being depressed or sad and not enjoying life. It's true we all get to the same destination in the end, but how we live determines when we get there. Reckless behavior might just end up being an unintended shortcut. Also, I now have an amazing job, fixed/got my car back, completely rebuilt my house, and am now living with a girl that has completely changed my life. Also, what did your girl do when you showed her the scar and told her the story? Did she flip? We were actually dating when everything happened. She was there through everything, and after coming out of the coma she never left my side. Every little thing she could think of, even some more comfortable pants to wear, since she knew I'd be sitting a lot, haha. I was jumped and beaten badly with a metal pipe. My heart sinks whenever I hear footsteps running behind me. Does anything make your heart skip a beat? And remember that night. I definitely can't go to that bar ever again, and I really don't like people behind me anymore. I have a complex with my neck as well. I can't wear ties or have anyone touch it other than my GF, or else I start to panic a bit. How does it feel to come around from a coma? What I mean is, were there moments where you came back into consciousness without any medical staff noticing? Were you able to move around or to interact with people straight away, or did it take time to regain enough strength to do that? It was like blacking out then waking up. Nothing that I remember in between. When I woke up, I felt completely fine, though I think this was due to the painkillers. It didn't set in how damaged I was until it took a monumental effort to lift my arm. I was able to get out of bed to pee on my own after 3 days. Do you harbor feeling of resentment against the guy? If you lived in a society which allowed the victims of violent crime to choose the punishment that would befall the perpetrator, what punishment would you choose? And I definitely hold resentment against the guy. He tried to take my life. I would not, however, wish death upon him nor anyone else. If I could wish any punishment upon him, it would be to go through the absolute misery that not only I went through, but to experience what my parents/family/loved ones had to go through. I know that's not possible, though, and if I were to assign him a punishment, he would be behind bars for a decade. Can you go into more detail about experiencing being brought back 3 times? Were you conscious through the transport to the initial hospital and the subsequent transfer? I wish I did remember. Unfortunately, I don't recall being brought back. I was unconscious when the ambulance came to pick me up. Jesus. How has this year been for ya? Better than that one, I hope. Also, how long did it take to recover? Glad you're healthy. This year has been great. I met an amazing girl, rebuilt my house, got my car back, and have quite literally my dream job. After coming out of the coma, I was in a fragile state for about 6 months, when I was able to walk on my own again without fear of passing out. After about 9 months, I was basically at 80%. Today, my lungs are still shot. I can't run or anything yet, but there's nothing other than physical activity that I don't allow myself to do anymore. And thanks, I'm very glad I'm healthy too. How often do people ask about that scar? Interestingly, not very often. Everyone stares at it, but only my very close friends ask. I've been called out on it maybe 5 times in the past year. Is there any long-term damage done/irreversible damage that you had to learn to cope with? Was there any physical therapy involved for recuperation? My vision in one eye is pretty shot. Think I hit the ground a little hard when I passed out, and my tooth is chipped badly. Contacts have straightened everything out, which is great. As for therapy, I was told to go to an ent for my voice, and was told my right vocal cord was paralyzed. I was told that I would probably need surgery, but due to the scope of the damage to the outside of my neck, he'd have to do the surgery from inside. Thinking of that alone made me want to puke, so I refrained, and my voice fixed itself. Do you tell people you were stabbed in the throat when they ask about the scar, or do you have a better story, as if there was one? My little cousins and godson I tell I got into an accident, so they just assume it was a car accident. Random people I will tell I nicked myself shaving. It's a polite way of saying I have no idea who you are, I will never see you again, and I'm not really wanting to spend 10 minutes explaining haha. One day a few friends and I told every person a different story ranging from fighting a bear, shark attack, skydiving accident, etc. and one group the truth. The group we told the truth to me flat out said I was lying. I suppose bear/shark attacks are more believable than assault, haha. My question is really this. You explained that a few of your friends, the bar owners, and even a pet veterinarian Cartier aide. How many of these people are you still in contact with? Do you talk with them frequently? Have you ever discussed what happened? Or has it been more of a "yeah, we both know this happened, we were both there, let's move on with life" kind of attitude towards it? Or have you actually gone back over events, just like you're doing for us? I still keep in contact with them from time to time, but honestly I don't go out much or talk to many people since the incident. We've talked at length. I've thanked them from the bottom of my heart personally, but have been spending most of my time to myself, rebuilding my life/career/etc. If you could go back and change how you handled the situation with a drunk man, would you? Or do you stick by your initial actions? I wouldn't change a thing. The way I see it, things happened, I survived, and life for all involved went on. Had things been different, maybe it would have been someone else on the end of his rage who might not have made it. Do you have any memories from being dead/in a coma? I don't have any memories from being out, but when I awoke I made some pretty absurd leaps in my own mind to explain things that made no sense. For example, to explain to myself why I couldn't remember the past 2 weeks, ignoring the fact that I was in a coma. I rationalized that I experienced brain damage and was forgetting days after I experienced them. I also, in the peak of my painkiller-fueled delusions, told myself at one point that everyone was just ducking with me and that this was all an intricate joke. Does your voice sound different than before? It did for about 6 months. I felt like I was going through puberty. At first, I was unable to talk at all. Then, it was squeaky, then super deep, then gone again. It would go back and forth between light and raspy and squeaky and deep randomly, it seems, as my one vocal cord tried to learn to do the work of two. Now, as the nerve recovered and my right cord works again, I sound back to normal. You said you had lost your job sometime before that. Did you have medical insurance when this happened? What was your bill like afterward? I did have insurance still, thankfully. The total amount was nearly $1 million. I would never have been able to pay that off. Pro tip, a bag of blood is $1,000. If you could do so without consequence to yourself, would you kill or hurt the man that did it to you? I didn't feel bad for me when everything happened. I felt bad for my family and friends that had to go through everything. I wouldn't wish that upon anyone's family. I do, however, believe he should go to jail to pay the consequences of his actions and realize you can't just go around trying to kill people. Did you dream or anything similar while in coma/unconscious? Nothing at all. I faded out and faded back in 2 weeks later. Painkiller infused dreams are pretty gnarly, though. I don't know if I was awake or asleep, but I really remember closing my eyes, but still seeing the room exactly as if they were open. Only difference was the TV would go blank when I closed my eyes. I also remember standing inside a purple/blue/white/black vortex watching Cloud fight Sephiroth with PSX graphics.